Hi, everybody. It's Phil Capelli from the Signature Travel Network. It's about a year ago that I was in Nairobi, Kenya, having just gotten back from an amazing safari with Mikado Safaris. I was with Signature owners, part of our Horizon Club that we do every year, and we had just been on it. We were just treated to an amazing experience with Mikado. But as we sat in the ballroom and waited around, we all knew this was going to be the most special of all the days. We were about to meet the children that we will be sponsoring for the next 4 years of their boarding school education. It's an experience I'll never forget, and I know it touched all of our members. It was that visit to Kenya and the work of America Share and Mikado that inspired the creation of Signature's charitable foundation, Travel Elevates. Travel Elevates is an independent, nonprofit foundation supported by Signature staff, its members, their clients, and preferred partners. It's designed to encourage travel to new destinations and promote service projects in local communities in those regions. Travel Elevates will also select 1 or 2 projects annually to support, and will also spotlight many other ongoing projects that our members and travelers may wish to support. We've just opened up the grant application process for 2021, and you can find the details at our website. You can also view the many charities that we are spotlighting worldwide and find out about their work. We're excited to launch Travel Elevates. But for the full story behind America Share's work and the mission and work of Travel Elevates, I turn it over to Alex Sharp and Lorna McLeod, founder and executive director of America Share, who will discuss their work and the urgent needs they are facing today.
It all began with one little boy over 30 years ago. He was going from person to person in a Nairobi shopping center with a note from his school headmaster. The note said he was an orphan and needed 700 shillings for a school uniform before he could come to class. He had only collected 100 shillings. The boy approached Lorna McLeod, a Mikado Safaris employee. She read the note and handed him the 600 shillings, the equivalent of $15. Tears running down his face, the boy stood there for a moment and said, "God bless you," then dashed away. At that moment, Lorna realized that Mikado Safaris was an ideal bridge between some of the poorest people on the planet and some of the wealthiest, Mikado travelers. The bridge became America Share. So let me introduce my friend and inspiration, Lorna McLeod, who is the executive director of America Share and joining us today on Signature Good News. So thank you, Lorna. Welcome.
Thanks, Alex. Good to see you.
You too. It's hard to believe it's been just over a year since we had our Signature Horizon Club program in Kenya. You were one of our hostesses and really focused on what you do best, which is America Share, the nonprofit arm of Mikado Safaris. And I think my lasting impression, there are several, but my lasting impression will be, that day when we had our 50 sponsored kids all together at the hotel, and all of our advisors got a chance, all of our agency owners got a chance to meet them. When we say sponsored, the children, why don't you give everyone a little update? What does that mean exactly?
So when a traveler is interested in helping out with our sponsorship program, which is you take a child that typically is, if not orphaned, he's very vulnerable or she's very vulnerable. Parents can't afford school fees at all, and we put them into boarding schools, very good boarding schools. And then we support that child for as many years as the person sponsor would like to. It's a life-changing experience, certainly for these children, and also for, I believe, the sponsor. They hopefully meet, they write letters to each other, and they develop a relationship across the ocean that becomes so incredibly meaningful. I'll never forget that day, that crowded ballroom. Remember, Alex?
Yeah.
All these people, like little groups of 3 or 2 or whatever it was, finally meeting their kids. I just got goosebumps.
When you were talking about pictures of the sponsors in the kids' dorm rooms, I was thinking about one of our little ones. I don't know if you can see this. So that's Margaret. I have a picture of Barack over there and Halima in another place. Barack Kutwa, who I was privileged to be able to sponsor 10 years ago when I was in Kenya. what he's done for my kids and my family is just incredible. What was great about it was he was able to serve as the inspiration before our trip, right? We did a webinar, something like this, and I talked about Barack and what he did for our family and what we were able to help him do. And he was graduated high school right before we got there in April of last year, and he's now at university. But, you know, that story inspired so many other of our agency owners to sponsor kids, and some of our sponsors that were there as well from the cruise lines. So 50 kids in one day. And when you think about the magnitude of that, 50 educated people in a slum can really change the trajectory of a community, not just a family, not just a person, but of a community. I wanted to just also touch on the fact that, you know, a couple of the other things that America Share does and that we got to participate in and see when we were in Kenya. One was this incredible oasis, right, called Harambee Center. Tell us a little bit about what happens at Harambee Center.
Well, like you said, it's an oasis. There are trees there, there's grass there, and for those of you that have been through Mukuru, there's no such thing elsewhere. When you pull into Harambee Center, it's just a place of safety and peace and sunshine. And you have all those kids sprawling out on that grass when they can. And so we have 2 libraries, which some of you have seen, and then we have now 2 computer centers. One sponsored by Signature, which is the most popular of our programs. So your new computer center, which is shiny and bright and happy. It's a very happy place. I've been there. I was just there 2 months ago. 36 beautiful computers, 2 big projectors on the wall that the kids can watch on their computer, but then the teachers learn it, teaching them off that projector. Absolutely amazing. And you could hear a pin drop in there.
I think inspired by Harambee Center, inspired by the whole trip, right? And having a lot of our heart in Kenya, it was interesting because it became this, like, you know, kind of these side conversations about how can we help, what more can we do? And, you know, certainly the sponsoring of kids was a very individual thing that folks did. Mm-hmm. But they wanted to do something from Signature. And then there was this empty building kind of behind the others that was originally Huru, another one of your nonprofits. And in discussions with Dennis and with you, we identified that that was kind of the future home for the next computer center, should you ever get there and be able to get the funding to do it. And really on the spot, the group committed to doing it. And then we had to figure it out, right? But it was that process that really was the inspiration for creating Travel Elevates. Mm-hmm. And then I'm no dummy. So we brought on Lorna as one of our advisory board members so that we could learn everything that she had done at America Share, the good and the bad, right? As you said, I'll tell you all the mistakes I made so we don't have to make them again. Mm-hmm. And we launched Travel Elevates. And one of the things I want to share today is the website's live. And so we're going to start accepting grants or grant applications so that we can give a grant by the end of the year, because, you know, these are tough times, but heck, they're tough times for the hardest hit as well. So now is the time for us to really focus on giving back as well as, you know, in good times.
Completely agree with that. To serve is what we should all be doing, whatever that means to you individually, but to serve and to give every day. Not one day should go by in your life that you don't do something for someone, whatever size that is, whatever that means. But God, if you can do that, we should all do that. And if we all did that, the world would completely be a better place, I think.
I'm so inspired by what you started in this little story that I said at the outset, this little spark. But it wouldn't have happened if it weren't for people like the Pinto family and the broader Mikado organization. They're such wonderful people. They care so much about their home country, that investing in that country and in the people there has been a joy for them. And you're always looking for the next opportunity. And so I mentioned that the computer center that was built went into the old Huru Center, which got moved because it got bigger and needed more space. And Huru an affiliated but a separate nonprofit that creates disposable sanitary pads for women, and we leveraged that group to sponsor a class. Or you guys came up with the idea. Heck, our sponsors kicked in, and everyone was really enjoying it. And about 20 young women got trained on commercial sewing, right? So to help with that and to start their own businesses or get jobs in the industry. But now tell us what Huru is doing.
So you're right. Signature had a very successful class. By the way, we got their results of the 20 girls. So right before COVID hit, and there's a lockdown in Kenya at the moment. 8 of those girls passed the national exam. So they are now certified to go wherever they want. And when the factories reopen, they can have fruitful jobs. But in the meantime, they're working for Huru. We decided, since they're such good sewers, that they're going to make reusable masks. They've made over 60,000 masks. So then we thought, all right, sponsors, you Signature sponsors and other sponsors that are taking care of these kids. These kids are stuck with their families in Mukuru. They don't have any money for masks. They don't have food.
These are the kids that we sponsored that were at boarding school and got brought home, either to their families or caretakers, whoever's looking after them if they don't have family.
Thank you for clarifying. They ended up going home, which no one wants to be in Mukuru for months on end and stuck in a little, 10 by 10 shack. But so we said to Christine, the America Share social worker, all right, you call the families. Let's make sure they're okay, first of all. And how many masks does that family need? We're going to give 2 per person. The masks were great. They're really grateful, but some people are really, really struggling. For food. So we sent out an emergency fund update, which a lot of the Signature sponsors came through and said, hey, I want to help my sponsored child, but I also want to help whoever else needs it, which is typical of you guys for sure. So we really did an assessment of most needy, and less needy. Even though everyone in Mukuru is needy, there are degrees of difference. So we've so far fed over 100 families. We're doing 11 more tomorrow. And these are the people, and I don't want to make anyone sad, but really tough. Like, they only have tea for the family, black tea. That's what they were having.
And when you say you're feeding them, you're giving them enough food for, you said, up to about 30 days, one month of food. So that's a considerable amount that, if I know the people of Kenya, they'll probably share. More broadly, but it's an incredibly nice thing that you all are doing, but something that's so needed.
We are so glad we can help, and it's the notes that Alba's getting on WhatsApp, because everyone uses WhatsApp there. They couldn't be more grateful. So we couldn't be more grateful to all of you and your members for helping us, because it's truly life-saving. It's not even, I'm not saying that lightly in any way, but one of the other things they found out during these visits to these families, the girls were having their periods. Periods don't stop because of pandemics, and they wouldn't dare ask their mom or whoever, head of household, for money for pads. So they were quietly suffering, and Christine brought that to Wanjiru and said, listen, what can we do? So we're now giving these girls the Huru kits that you all saw. So they're able to manage the period. She's done 36 so far, and we're working our way through the sponsored kids' families. If you make a little bit of a difference, which you all have done so much with these children, and jumping in here and helping us and answering our call has been huge for these families, more than you will know. I just can't express it more than our heartfelt love and gratitude to all of you for taking care of people afar.
Anyone who says they don't get more in return is lying. And I will say that, certainly folks have left, I say when you go to Kenya, you're going to leave a piece of your heart there. You go to Mukuru, to Harambee Center, you're going to leave an even bigger piece of your heart there. And in these crazy times, certainly we have to take care of ourselves and our families first. I know there's a lot of need here in the U.S.
I agree.
But Kenya, for those who have been there, right, Kenya will always have a special place and will always command our attention and our love. And so I'm happy to hear that people have been able to give back. I'm happy that people are continuing to keep up with their sponsorships of these kids. And I can't wait to see them all grown up and contributing. Those 50 kids, just think of the signature crew of 50. And Barack thinks he's their leader. And so think about the impact they can have in that community in 10 years when they're done with high school, right? And into college. I mean, it really is significant. So I want to thank you. I want to thank the Pintos. I want to thank Mercado, AmericaShare, everyone, and particularly our members and advisors who have been over the years, who have given and contributed and spread the word. That's the most important thing. And that really goes back to one of the core tenets of Travel Elevates. Yes, we're going to sponsor things like we've done with the Computer Center. We're going to give grants. But the other side of it is it's about promoting and highlighting these incredible initiatives that are happening by our partners in country, right? So yes, we see what they're doing, but also so that we can explain it to our guests, to our customers who are traveling there. Because I can tell you, a guest who experiences Harambe Center will have a much more enriched trip. They're going to be more tied to that advisor for having put that together for them. They're going to want to go back to that advisor, and they're going to want to go back to Kenya. And by the way, that's a heck of a great sale. So there's a commercial aspect of this as well. But this is the gift truly that keeps on giving. And I'm just so proud to call you a friend, to have you involved in Travel Elevates, and to keep in touch and hear your stories. So thank you so much, Lorna.
Thanks, Alex. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Norwegian and how they sponsor those 6 kids, the very brightest of bright. They've also been taken care of, just so you all know. So I just can't, I have to not leave before saying that. So thanks to them as well. Alex,
Norwegian, Regent, and Oceania, they all chipped in and as our sponsors and did a great job. They did. Awesome. Thanks for giving us the opportunity.